Across the black sea of time, I found you waiting in the future. The night was heavy with rain. The sky was an endless sea of black clouds, and the wind howled across the cliffs that faced the ocean. Elias stood there, staring into the dark waves that crashed against the rocks. He had always felt that the sea carried secrets, whispers from other worlds, from other times. He closed his eyes and listened. Somewhere within that roar of wind and water, he heard it again, the voice that had haunted his dreams for years. Elias. It was soft, distant, almost like an echo from a broken star. He had dreamed of that voice since he was a child. A woman's voice, gentle but strong, sad but full of hope. Each time, she would say the same thing. Across the black sea of time, I will wait for you. He didn't know who she was.
He didn't know why she said those words.
But every time he heard them, his heart ached with a strange, beautiful pain, as if he had lost something he could not remember. Elias had grown into a quiet man. He worked as an astronomer at an old observatory near the coast. Most nights, he watched the stars alone, tracing their slow movements, trying to find patterns in the silence of the universe. Yet, deep down, he wasn't searching for stars. He was searching for her. The voice from beyond time. One morning, when the fog rolled thick from the sea, Elias found something strange in his mailbox. It was an envelope, old, yellowed, and sealed with a wax emblem shaped like a crescent moon. There was no address, no stamp, no sender. Only his name written in delicate handwriting, Elias Thorne. He opened it carefully. Inside was a single piece of paper, folded twice. The ink was faint, but the words were clear. The stars have shifted, Elias. The sea remembers. Follow the black horizon when the moon bleeds, and you will find me waiting, where time breaks. No name, no signature, just that. His hands trembled as he read it again. The moon bleeds. What could that mean? That night, he couldn't sleep. He sat by the window, watching the ocean. Around midnight, clouds moved aside, revealing a blood-red moon rising above the water. Something inside him stirred, like a memory waking up. He grabbed his coat and lantern and hurried down the cliffs to the shore. The tide was low, and the waves seemed to shimmer with faint silver light. He followed the glow until he reached a strange spot, where the sea met a circle of black stones, half buried in the sand. At the center of that circle, something pulsed, a faint light, deep blue and alive, like the heart of the ocean. When he touched it, the world around him cracked apart like glass. Elias felt himself falling, not through space, but through time. The ocean dissolved into a storm of light and shadow, stars spinning past him like dying embers. He tried to breathe, but there was no air, only a strange silence that felt ancient and endless. Then everything stopped. He was standing on the deck of a great ship, floating on a sea darker than night. The stars above were unfamiliar, some shone red, others blue, and some moved like living things. The air tasted like metal and salt. The ship creaked softly. Its sails glowed faintly, made not of cloth but of light. He walked across the deck, his footsteps echoing strangely. A voice called from behind him. "You finally came."
He turned.
A woman stood there, dressed in silver robes that shimmered like water. Her eyes were the color of the stars themselves. She smiled softly, though tears glimmered in her eyes. Elias's heart froze. It was her, the voice from his dreams. I know you," he whispered, "but I don't know how." "You knew me once," she said gently. "Before time carried us apart." He took a step closer. "Who are you?" "My name is Lyra," she said. "And this ship, it sails across the black sea of time." Lyra led him to the edge of the deck. Beneath them stretched an ocean not of water, but of moments. Each wave shimmered with visions of the past, the future, and everything in between. He saw flashes of cities rising and falling, stars being born and dying, faces of people he didn't know but somehow felt connected to. "This sea," she said softly, "connects all of time. It carries memories, lost dreams, and forgotten lives. You are here, because a promise was left unfinished. Elias frowned. A promise? She nodded. Long ago, we were both travelers, scientists from a dying world. We discovered a way to send our minds across time, hoping to save what was left of humanity. But the experiment failed. The storm of time tore us apart. You were sent to the far past, your mind reborn into another body. I was thrown into the far future. And ever since, I've been waiting for the moment when the sea would bring you back to me. Elias felt dizzy. His memories swirled. Flashes of machines, lights, a great city burning beneath two suns, a woman reaching for him before everything turned white. He looked at Lyra. I remember, the laboratory, the machine. You said you'd find me. Lyra smiled through her tears. And I did. For days, or maybe years. Time was strange here. Elias stayed aboard the ship with Lyra. They sailed across storms of ages, watching civilizations rise like flames and vanish into smoke. They spoke of the old world, their world, where people once believed they could control time. Do you ever wish we hadn't tried? Elias asked one evening, watching the horizon shimmer with centuries. Lyra shook her head.
No.
If we hadn't tried, we wouldn't be here. Sometimes, love must travel through darkness to find the light again. Her words lingered in him. Each night, the sea glowed brighter, as if reacting to their presence. Lyra said the ship was alive, a remnant of the temporal storm that had torn them apart. It was guiding them somewhere. Finally, one night, they saw it, a distant shore glowing faintly beneath a golden sun. That's the end of time, Lyra whispered, where everything begins again. As the ship approached the shore, Elias felt a deep stillness. The sea became calm, mirror-like. When they stepped onto the sand, it felt warm, alive, as if it pulsed with a heartbeat. Before them stood a gate of light, vast and humming like the center of a star. This is it, Lyra said softly. Beyond this, time restarts. We can live again, together, as we were meant to.
He took her hand.
And if we cross? Then we will forget everything, she said. Our names, our memories, even this journey. But maybe, somewhere deep within, our souls will remember. Elias hesitated. If we forget, will we still find each other? Lyra smiled faintly. We always do. She stepped forward, but before she entered, she turned back to him. Elias promised me one thing. If you ever hear my voice again, even in another life, follow it. He nodded. I will. They walked into the light together. When Elias opened his eyes, he was lying beneath a bright blue sky. The sea before him was no longer black, but glittering and full of life. The air smelled of salt and spring flowers. He sat up slowly, feeling strange, as if centuries pressed behind his eyelids. Down the shore, a woman was sketching in the sand. Her hair caught the sunlight, turning it gold. Something in his chest tightened. He didn't know her, and yet he did. He walked toward her. She looked up, smiling politely.
Hi, she said.
I didn't see you there. Her voice. It was soft, familiar, full of that same warmth he had felt across lifetimes. He smiled back. I think I've met you before. She laughed lightly. I doubt it. I just moved here. But something flickered in her eyes, a faint recognition, a tremor of memory. She tilted her head, studying him. What's your name? She asked. Elias. She smiled. Lyra. The wind blew across the waves. The sea whispered softly, carrying echoes of distant stars, as if remembering their voyage. They stood there for a moment, watching the horizon together. Neither spoke, yet both felt it, the connection, the quiet truth that had crossed oceans of time to find its way back. And far beyond the visible world, in the endless black sea of time, a faint light shimmered, the ghost of a ship sailing forever, carrying the love that refused to die. Years later, Elias often dreamed of that ship. In his sleep, he would see its glowing sails and hear the hum of stars around it. Sometimes, Lyra would be there beside him, whispering the same words that started it all. Across the black sea of time, I will wait for you. He would reach for her hand, and the sea would rise again. Endless, dark, beautiful. He no longer feared it. He knew that love wasn't bound by years or lifetimes. Because somewhere in every version of the world, in every thread of existence, she was there, waiting. And he was always on his way to find her.